Fred, what's the latest with Jay?
Everything I've been told, he's good to go.
Avery?
Everything I've been told, he's good to go too.
And Tyler missed practice yesterday. Is he here tonight?
Tyler's out for family reasons.
I guess some of Avery's the stats aren't great on him this year. I guess you have a better record without him. And field goal percentage is given up is higher than last year. But does that mean anything to you? These numbers?
Not really. I think that ultimately Avery's really important to helping us be the best version of ourselves. And I think that if you look at when all of our guys are available, and that starting group has been available, we've been pretty good. And so, there are always going to be some things that can give an argument for or against a player, but I think we all know Avery's value on both ends of the court and how much he helps our team.
Just how do you think he's playing defensively this year compared to last year?
I think he's, first of all, when he came back, you could tell there was a real jolt to our team defensively. And so, again, I think he's, what he can do on the defensive end has been pretty well documented. His ability to get into the ball, his ability to guard multiple positions, it's very good.
Brad, now that you've had a chance to coach Al for almost a full season, is there any part of his game particularly stand out to you that maybe you weren't quite aware of until you had a chance to coach him? Small thing, anything?
He's probably even better defending either the stretch four or the more traditional big than I would have known even from coaching against him, because he was mostly guarding fives when he was in Atlanta, but we've asked him to guard fours quite a bit, and he's continued to get better throughout the year. And then, I wouldn't say that anything else has surprised me, but he's been a huge part of us. I mean, his presence has been huge and contagious, and I can't say enough good things about him.
Just to follow up there, his playmaking, not that he wasn't a playmaker in Atlanta, but he's done a little bit more of it this year. Is that something that just is?
No, I didn't think. I thought we've had a pretty good pulse on that. But hey, we're going to try to play through him in the post, but also in the pick and roll. He's been great in pick and roll, no matter if he rolled or popped over the last couple of years. And a large part of that is making the next right read. And sometimes it's to shoot, but oftentimes it's to keep the ball moving. And, I just kind of look back at our first couple of practices. You knew that, his effect was contagious.
How much is Isaiah's season connected?
I think it certainly helps. It certainly helps. I've said before, what Isaiah has done since he's been in Boston has been remarkable. And he has made those around him better, but also vice versa. I think that the guys around him have really complemented his game well. And when you add a person like Al, that is such a threat off pick and roll, but also such a good passer and playmaker, it just helps.
Coach, a game like this, the attention it gets, do you remind the players to block out noise, or do you welcome it just because they have to deal with it at some point?
I mean, I don't really even think about it. Maybe, and I probably am pretty close to living under a rock, but, we're just going about, preparing the same way we always do. We don't talk big game, small game. We talk about the next game and trying to do the best that we can against our opponent. And I know that sounds really boring, but that's the way that I look at it, at least. It's the way I go about it. So these guys have all grown up playing big games their whole lives. So.
Coach, LeBron's so dynamic, but look, Kyrie, he's just amazing.
Tremendous. Yeah, those guys are great players. You look at when you have them, and when we beat them, nobody talks about it, but when we beat them, they didn't have Love or Smith. They're going to continue to round in the form as they, those guys are back playing together longer, and as now they're getting fully healthy with Horford back and everything else. It's a really tough team to play against. And Tristan Thompson certainly is a unique player that does a lot of unique things, but now they become really stretched out with him out of the game as far as they can put 5 shooters in the game. You're having to guard to 30 feet on every possession, which is really tough. And so they challenge you in so many different ways. They're so versatile with how many different ways they can play, and that's mostly due to the fact that they've got a guy at 6'8", 260 that can play all 5 positions.
With Jay probably being available tonight, how important is he in a game like this, not only for his defensive versatility, but just kind of the emotional aspect that he brings to the game and has brought since he came here?
I just think Jay's really important in general because he allows us what we just talked about with Cleveland. Cleveland is, obviously Golden State, maybe a couple of others, is the best at being able to play a bunch of different ways. And Jay allows us to play different ways. Because of his ability to play both the 3 and then swing to the 4 some.
Fred, I know we ask you about it every time, but have you given much thought to resting some guys on the second night of the back-to-back tomorrow?
I've given, very little thought other than the fact that we're constantly in communication with our medical staff and everybody else about what's appropriate for these guys in the near term and in, over the next couple of weeks. We'll see how tonight goes. We'll see, when we land, all that other stuff that comes into play. But right now, our intention is to keep playing, get some rhythm together.